Welcome back. Once again, you have reached Pay Dirt. I'm your host, Brandon Herriott, a.k.a. B Dirt, with your host, Pay Saunders. What's good, Pay? Oh, man, I just got done in pre-game in here saying I was going to get fined for not taking my mic off. Pay got it out of the way early.
Yeah, I got it out the way early, man. Hey, we're powering through. That's the theme of the day, powering through. Man, so speaking of powering through, how did we do last week? Well, we didn't even do it.
Last week was a week dropped. Last week was a week dropped.
So how was your personal? How was your personals?
Personal was -1 unit. Came back at the end with the Rams and got me down to -1. It was a little touch and go. I looked around for some maybe an anytime touchdown or something to get that one back, but I said, nah, you know what? Just listen. I'm good with what I have. I had a really good run of weeks leading up to that. I just left it alone. And look, I actually had more wins picked than losses. But those Chargers did me dirty. I don't think they was going to get beat by the Texans like that.
You know what? It was at that point I stopped chasing because I had
something was in the air.
Going into Saturday, I had refresh my memory. Who played in college football last week?
Notre Dame, Penn State.
I had Notre Dame. I had Notre Dame winning outright, and I had the over 41 of Ohio State and Texas, but I had Texas covering once that line got to 9.5, right? So that was my parlay, and then I added it in with all my NFL picks, right? Obviously, I had Houston winning like everybody else. I had Houston taking care of business. I mean, I had Houston losing, my fault. I had the Chargers taking care of business, silly me, and I had some other stuff going on. Obviously, Notre Dame won, and Ohio State had the craziest beat of all time. All I needed was them to go down there and score that touchdown. It was right there in the red zone beat. Go score that touchdown. I get the over. We go to overtime. You know, anything can happen. So I did not like that. Going to Saturday, I'm like, okay, I'm going to chase it again. In the first game out, Houston did me dirty. Houston decided to win a game they had no business winning. I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing nothing else. I left it alone at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the memes out there and the GIFs and all those things where they have Texas literally at the half-yard line that said, this resulted in an Ohio State touchdown in 2 plays. It's wild. Jack Sawyer ruined your whole weekend.
You know who ruined my whole weekend? Quentin Ewers. I am a Ewers hater for the rest of his career. I would not say anything positive.
We've been talking about that.
Yeah, I am, and I should have listened to you guys. See what happens when I don't listen. This is why I shouldn't stray too far from the nest.
Yeah. Tim Lyons hit us up here in the chat. Said, "Good to see you're feeling better, Tim." And for those of you listening out there, podcast land, all those kind of things. If you hear me mute in the middle of a conversation, it's the cough. I apologize if you can hear the cough drop. But I'm struggling. I'm trying to get through it. The bug has caught the house. Yeah. So I was down and out Sunday and Monday. And my lovely bride-to-be has been down and out the past couple of days. And I am trying to get back on the mend, but talking is the worst part of what I do. And in both of my jobs, it's the most of what I do. So got to power through it, man. Got to power through it. Didn't give the people what they needed last week. Got to give the people what they needed this week. And we got to rebound.
Yes,
because we went 3-3 2 weeks ago. We are now 46-36. 10 games over 500, but 56% winning percentage. We want to get that up at least 2 points. So we need to get at least 4 this week. We've got a short slate to do it.
6 games. 6 games to get it.
So the pick 6 is going to be, somewhere in those 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
I listen. If you see, you've got your normal tagline 7-day weekends. My tagline says Know-It-Alls Bowl. So when you're talking about college football, are you looking for the joy with our Know-It-Alls family? Or are you looking for the tears?
Let me tell you something, B. When I say this out loud to people, I get a little stink eye. But no one really disagrees with me, because if you're deep down, if you're being honest with yourself, the best thing about sports is your friends' agony when their teams lose. That is one of the best things about sports.
Yeah. Now I do have a friend out there that he's an Ohio State fan. He came out to a watch party last year for the national championship game, and he took a picture of me popping champagne. I should have just spent money and went to the game for what we did. But he's got a picture of me, and he said it's the greatest picture. It's the happiest I've ever seen you in your life. The only negative thing about this picture is he shared it with Jess. So somehow I've got to look happier than that at the wedding. So that's where he like cornered me into that. But so I get, like, I do kind of want to see Tate happy like that. I kind of want to see Tim happy like that. But at the end of the day, when it's just like Know-It-Alls family, to see back-to-back weeks of Ahmad's tears and then Big G's tears, I don't know, man. I could be down for that.
I'm here for it. It's great. Listen, Tim is watching. Tim Lyons, shout out. 1/3 of the Know-It-Alls crew. Not Know-It-Alls, but Running Through the Jungles crew. Tim disagrees with me. He doesn't think agony or bad, sad fans is good content. I disagree.
Oh, it's really good content.
I think it's great content.
It's great content.
If you can give me, Know-It-Alls is a little siphoned away from me. I get to see Mod's tears, and Mod isn't that emotive, so I wouldn't get what I'm looking for out of Mod.
Not as much as you would G.
But G, yeah. That's where the gold is. I want the content. Bring it to me.
And not only the sad, but the angry. Oh,
yes.
Angry is great. Like those Paul Feinbaum, call in kind of callers. G almost turns into one of those guys.
Yes, he does.
He did it after the Steelers game. We got a little bit of that from the Steelers, Bengals, and the way the Steelers season ended. But he's trying to stay away from that as much as possible and more concentrate on the Ohio State doing well thing. So segue into Ohio State doing well. The lines are out right now, and Ohio State's favored by 8.5. The over/under is 46.5. What's your immediate thoughts here?
My immediate thoughts is that, man, we get to see we have a great opportunity to see one large fan base have egg on their face. I'm here for that. As personal for me. Now, for this game as it goes, I mean, the second they beat Oregon, they've been the favorite, and they showed it last week when they beat Texas. Texas didn't belong on the same field with them, if we're being honest with ourselves, right? Quinn Ewers, I'm looking dead at you. How can Notre Dame, as banged up as they are, they've got all the talent in the world, but they're down, 3 offensive linemen? I think they have a third tackle playing.
Third string right tackle, yeah.
Yeah. So their All-American running back is dealing with knee issues. I mean, he's still a dog, but
yep.
At some point, the luck, of the Irish might have to run out. And you had to deal with those Buckeyes being happy. And maybe a contract extension for Ryan Day.
I'm not mad about it. Man, Notre Dame is well coached. They're a very physical team. With this line being at 8.5, and the over/under 46.5 is pretty low for an Ohio State game, but I think it's right because I think they know that Notre Dame's going to try to take the air out of the ball here. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame, I think, needs to limit the possessions, have time of possession in their favor. Mm-hmm. Ohio State they have a very good defense. Could, a mobile quarterback give them a little bit of fits? Maybe. Can Notre Dame sustain enough on offense and limit the big plays on defense? I think coaching-wise, they'll limit the big plays on defense for the most part. They'll get one or two. They're going to. Ohio State's got really great skill players. The 8.5, that line is tough for me.
I actually think it's fair.
I think it's really good. I think it's a really well set line.
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning Notre Dame, but I can't pull the trigger yet.
All things considered, and and I'm hoping, and I know you're what you're saying has no bias whatsoever in it because you're a Michigan guy, right? Mm-hmm. Michigan and Notre Dame don't get along. Michigan and Buckeyes definitely don't get along. So you've got no horse in this race. Me, I actually do have a horse in this race. I mean, to be honest with you, Notre Dame is not far from where I grew up. I grew up in Chicago, so Notre Dame is kind of like a I don't want to say it's a Chicago school, but it's in the neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. I grew up a Michigan fan. I'm not a Michigan fan. I don't align with Michigan anymore, but I've never liked Ohio State. Always hated them. So anytime I get to see them lose, I would tend to lean that way. However, everything you said is facts. I think Ohio State is more primed to do what they do in this game. The 8.5. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's a solid line. I think I can take that and go Ohio State.
And here's the thing with this line too. When you look at the money that's bet on this game right now, mm-hmm. It's 56% to 44% in favor of Ohio State. So it's not a big percentage back and forth. So you're not going to see a big swing in this unless smart money comes in at the very end. If smart money comes in at the very end, like the Vegas guys or whatever, you may see it then. But you're playing with roulette, trying to figure out if you're going to playing Russian roulette there, trying to figure out if you're going to wait till that late in the game and try to catch that wave.
Yeah, so a lot of Catholics watch football.
Yeah, Notre Dame is a great brand. Ohio State's a great brand. The brands here are not going to be what swings this money wise. I think it's going to be the smart money at the end in large sums.
Like I said, I got Ohio State. I got the favorites. I think 8.5 is sweet enough for them. They can cover that.
Now, do you think if you favor Ohio State, do you also favor the over? Because I feel like if you favor Notre Dame, you almost favor the under, right?
I can go with that. Because I don't see any scenario where Notre Dame's going to score what 23 plus points. I don't see that happening. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think to answer your question, yeah, I could see the over playing 46.5. Yeah, because I agree. 46.5 is low for an Ohio State game, especially. I consider they're playing a team that's quarterbacked by Quinn Ewers. So
I can see this going have to feel like Ohio State puts 30 on the board here.
I wouldn't be surprised. That wouldn't shock me whatsoever.
Tim is taking Notre Dame and the points. He thinks it's going to be a close game. He's also betting Notre Dame straight up, which is a plus 285.
Can you inform everybody who Tim Lyons is a big fan of?
Tim Lyons is a Golden Domer homer.
Golden Domer homer. And he should be taking his team straight up in a championship game. It's winner go home. It is for all the marbles. You stand with your squad. So, and I say all that to say
that's a 1-unit squad bet, though. That's not. Yeah. Make sure you put that rent money off to the side. The mortgage gets paid.
It's a lot going on the 20th. Don't be too hasty. Yeah, I mean, so it feels like you're leaning towards Notre Dame keeping this game a little bit under, though.
Man, I don't know. I'm lost with this one, man. I think Ohio State wins the game.
Okay.
I win by 10 is my question.
What's more likely to happen? Ohio State wins by 10.
Blowing them out. You're right.
There you go.
Yep, that's it.
I think
play the odds.
All right. So the final football game of the 2024 season, we got Ohio State covering against Notre Dame.
Yeah, I see it. Let's call it 34-17.
That's fair to me. It sounds like you want that over. Okay.
All right.
Now let's go to big boy football. The professionals.
The NFL playoffs.
Oh man. So I went 3-3 in the NFL playoffs last week.
So did I.
So I am itching to get my lick back. First game up on Saturday. We got the Houston Texans, those dastardly 2 years in a row they upset me in the playoffs. I'm 0 for 2 picking. Well, I'm 1-2 in playoff games in the CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryans era. So I'm 0 for 2 in that wild card round. This week they got the Kansas City Chiefs. There is no way Houston does it again, right?
The Chiefs are favored by 8.5. The over under 41.5. That
is exactly where I saw that again. The Chiefs are 8-9 this season against the spread. 8-9 against the spread, but 15-1 straight up, obviously. Houston, for everything that they did, the pumpkins, the carriage gonna turn back to a pumpkin. Kansas City had a week off to prepare for them. They are rested now. They know how to prepare for playoff games. They've seen Houston multiple times. They understand what's in front of them. And I already said last year in this round, Houston got their tails kicked. I don't see anything changing. I actually got Kansas City covering for once, a big line. I got them by 10.
You know, I like them with Andy Reid and a bye week. You know, getting healthy. Mahomes has been a little banged up. I agree with you. I think Kansas City wins this one by 2 touchdowns.
Ooh, 2 tutties. So we both like Kansas City. Let's go ahead and put that on there. Now, the important question, the total. 41.5 is very low.
It is. What's the weather like in Kansas City?
Ooh, that's an excellent question. I already know the weather, what it's going to be in Buffalo. But let me see. In Kansas City, we are expecting...
And this is one of those things you guys got to do. You know, if you're going to be betting these overs, you got to look at it. Oh, they got better weather than us right now.
Yeah, I see that.
All right, down to 24 degrees, but it's going to be cold, but not going to be snowing or anything.
So no excuse like Miami Dolphins had last year.
It's still a little cold for Houston, and they also play indoors. But shouldn't stop people from putting points on the board.
Yeah. How how effective do we think Mixon and Nico can be against Kansas City's defense?
I think Mixon can have some success.
Huh. What about Nico and Dalton Schultz and the rest?
Man, I don't know. I just don't see it. Cold weather ball.
Because that right there tells you if they can have some type of rhythm to their offense, if you don't believe it, I can't see it as well. I mean, because at that point we're expecting the Kansas City Chiefs to score,
and they haven't scored 30 much.
No.
Yeah, I would leave this one alone probably.
I would as well. So I would go ahead and I would more so lean to the under. But 41.5 being so low of a typical NFL game, I'm not going to bet it at all.
Yeah.
And Joe Mixon is nursing in some sort of injury too, so keep that in mind if you wanted to play his totals at any point. All right. So the second game on Saturday, B-Dirt, we've got Detroit Lions also coming off a bye, hosting those DC Commandos. Spread is also.
And this is also an 8.5-point line, but the over-under is much different. 55.5. When we played indoors in Detroit, it should be a track meet.
You expect that, right? Washington, they've had a penchant of playing a lot of close games this year. They've had a penchant of keeping a lot of teams that they're not as good as, keeping it close with them. They don't back down, is what I'm saying. For some reason, Jaden Daniels and that offense from Cliff Kingsbury that I think is remedial, it keeps teams on their back heels. Will Aaron Glenn and his defense also be scrambling to figure out Jaden Daniels majority of this game?
In a word, I would say no.
I certainly hope not, because Aaron Glenn is my number one coaching candidate to come coach my team.
I don't blame you for that. And I think, we've started seeing some of this, the tape come out a little bit on Jaden Daniels and the Commanders' offense and those kind of things. When he rolls to his right is when he likes to pass. He rolls to his left. It's a tucked ball. He's going to run it more than likely. I think they scheme that up a little bit better. Todd Bowles talked about that at halftime. He kind of sputtered his way through it, but didn't really game plan against it, I don't think.
No.
So I think that the linebacker play, with the Detroit Lions getting healthier at that position, as well as defensive line, is going to help them there. They're able to get push up the middle and outside without giving up, their gap details with DJ Reader and Smith, and those guys are doing a really good job. I look at it this way. I get back to the end of it. I like the coaching for Detroit a little bit better, and I feel like Detroit has more weapons, right?
Of course.
Scary Terry, very good over there for the Commanders. But I don't see Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta. I don't see I think there's more depth in big playmakers for Detroit. I think they're going to play. They're not playing scared ball. They are taking on Man Campbell's persona, and they're going out there and letting it hang. So I'm gonna say Detroit covers this one, and it makes me really apprehensive because I just realized I picked two teams that are favored by 8.5 points back to back. So something's got to give, right?
It's actually 3 if you go back to Ohio State.
Man, that's a lot of favorites, but I feel more confident about this one than the last one. Yeah, I probably have gotten more confident as I'm picking these 8.5 point favorites.
So this is where we differ. I'm actually banking on this game being a little closer than 8.5. Reason being, Detroit's played a lot of close games this season. So has DC.
Hold on. Detroit has the largest margin of victory in the NFL at plus 225.
225. You're very much correct. However, and I'm gonna say this again, they've played close games. They've just dominated some other ones as well. They don't, and I say that to say that it is not outside of realm of possibility that someone could keep the game close with them. We've seen it. They played in a tough division where a lot of those games were close. The second game
Bears.
with the Packers,
Bears had them dead to rights.
The first game with the Bears, a couple of games with the Vikings. Yeah,
Texans was close.
The Texans was close. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What was the other one? The one that they lost. I forget. I'm blanking on
Bills.
That one. The Bills, right? So I don't want to say that they can be had. I'm definitely not saying that. But with the week off, with a team that they're familiar with, and the team that's also familiar with them, I expect this game to be a lot closer to 8.5. I don't expect the Detroit Lions to just run away from them. That's something that I can easily see.
Let me one last ditch effort to pull you over to the evil side here.
All right.
Remember last year's Bell of the Ball?
Yes.
Who almost broke the rookie passing record. If it wasn't for a concussion, he would have.
Yes.
Playing in Houston. C.J. Stroud. What did Houston do? They won that first playoff game, rookie quarterback, yada, yada, yada. Everything goes crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go into the Lions den, not the Detroit Lions, but the Baltimore Ravens, and get the doors blown off.
That's correct.
There's levels to this, Pay.
There's
I
levels.
just think that Detroit is on a different level than the Commanders right now. I like the trajectory of the Commanders, but they ain't there yet, and I think they run into a buzzsaw here with Detroit.
Okay. So you see this game as a shootout, right? Well, you see points. You see points coming from this game. Okay.
What's that?
You see points coming from this game. Lots of
do.
Points. Any thoughts on the over/under receptions from the two leading catchers for the Commandos, Zach Ertz and Terry McLaurin? So I'm looking at it right now. Let's go on the screen. Pull it up on the screen. So over/under for those two reception wise would be Terry McLaurin. No, that's his receiving yards. Zach Ertz receiving yards. Terry McLaurin receptions. They have it set at, as low as 3 and high as 10.
Well, 3's minus 1,400, so I wouldn't count that one.
No, I wouldn't as well. Zach Ertz, his receptions go from 2 to 7. Just based on some of the things that I've seen.
Go back to Ertz. I could get in there at 4.
I'm thinking more about 5 to 6. Just based on some of the things that I've seen from this offense, right? They don't really test. They nibble in the outside the hashes, right? Going to scary Terry. Even though McLaurin had 82 catches on the season, he's obviously led the team in receptions. They really don't throw the ball that much to receivers. The ball is around in the flats, right down the middle of the field, in the hash marks, down the seams. That's where the ball is usually thrown. They throw the ball a lot to Eckler. They throw the ball a lot to Brian Robinson, and a lot to Zach Ertz. They play a lot. In fact, they play a lot of 12 personnel too. So the other tight end gets in there.
And I think Kirby Joseph and the safety room there in Detroit's probably going to have a little more of an eye on Scary Terry not giving up that big play.
Of course, because they try to lull you to sleep and then try to get you over the top with Scary when you're not paying attention, right? So, to my point, I think this could be a nice game for Zach Ertz. I think he can eat up in the middle, keep Jack Campbell and the rest of those boys occupied. I'm thinking that about 5 catches might be decent for him.
So you're saying over 5 or over 4?
I'm going to go over 4.
I like that.
All right. So we already know the usual suspects for the Lions. Have you had any thoughts about them? David Montgomery's back. So if you had any ideas about Jahmyr Gibbs props, remember.
I know, and I don't know what to expect from David Montgomery.
Yeah.
That one threw me off a little bit. No, I'm good. I'm good. Good, because they're going to spread the ball around, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going to happen there, so I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, that's a good thing about Detroit. They do spread the ball around. You never. It's everyone gets a good helping of food.
All right. The fantasy football league that I had this year, I had Goff, Laporta, Gibbs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown on my team.
I had, out of the 4 leagues I played in, I had Amon-Ra on 2. I had Gibbs on 1. And the one that I played in with you, I don't think I had any Lions on that team.
It was one of those things that it weirdly happened. I wasn't trying to do it, and I got Goff late. And Goff was really my backup to start the year. Mm-hmm. But I just looked at it and was like, I can't have all these guys and not try this double dip. Like, it just was too easy. Put it in.
Exactly. Oh, that's what she said. All right.
All right. Whoa. All right. That's a good place. That's a good place to take a quick break.
Right. Before we take the break, I do want to, just for anybody watching that's new, we disagree on the line, or we disagree on what's going to happen in this game, so we automatically do not add it to our bet slip. B Dirt's got the Lions covering. I have the Commanders covering.
Yeah, if we can't talk one person off over on the one side of the line, we just let it go. Die on the vine, it is. Die on the vine. All right, well, you guys know the routine by now if you've been listening to us. We're going to take a quick commercial break here from our sponsors. If you have not yet, please like, subscribe, rate, and review. Give us those 5-star ratings. We appreciate you for it. And we'll be right back after these messages. And welcome back to Pay Dirt. Once again, you've reached Pay Saunders and your boy B Dirt. We have gone through half of the NFL playoffs, I believe, so far. Saturday games?
That's correct.
We started on the Monday game. We started on the NCAA. For those of you who have not seen, we are betting Ohio State in that game and rooting for tears. So
I would not be upset if I was wrong.
I would not either. That is a 1 unit bet for me, so I'm good with losing that one.
Sunday football, B. You got your LA Rams traveling cross country to see your Philadelphia cheesesteaks, the city of brotherly love. Those Eagles fly, Eagles fly. Eagles are the home team. The fighting and reading AJ Browns. They are favored by 6. Over under 43.5.
Man, I'm all over the place on this one.
Ooh, that's no good.
I'm gonna let you start it off, man. What's your feelings on this one?
All right, so I feel that Philadelphia is itching to show everybody what they're made of. I feel like they might feel a little disrespected because most of most of the talk, national media wise, has been about AJ Brown being a little disconnected. One catch last week. He's on the sidelines reading his book about philosophy and all that stuff, which is a bestseller now, thanks to AJ Brown. And then, you know how Philly fans are. Fire Sirianni like every other week. Is Jalen Hurts really the guy? Stuff like that. And on the other side of the field, other side of the coin, the Rams are being, they're getting a Cinderella story. The media's giving them, a hero's welcome for taking LA residents, their minds off of what's going on back in LA, with all the wildfires and everything like that.
Yeah.
Tragedy. So you got two different viewpoints, or two different narratives rather, on both teams coming into this game. And I feel like the better team, Philadelphia, sees this and is going to zero in on it and make that a bulletin board, use that as their motivation to serve notice to the Rams and everybody else that, hey, we were the number 2 team, and we was in contention for the number 1 seed in the NFC up until the last minute. Don't forget about us. That's where I'm thinking it right now. I got Philadelphia. I got their moxie, their motivation is right there plainly in front of them. I got them taking care of business. They can defend. They can block for their quarterback a lot better than the Vikings can block for their quarterback. And their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, he doesn't hold the ball that long. Unlike Sam Darnold, you won't see that type of defensive performance from the Rams this week. They're not getting 9 sacks. They're not going to fluster Jalen Hurts the way they did Darnold. Jalen Hurts doesn't have a record of seeing ghosts. Philadelphia's going to handle their business at home. I got them by 13.
So my initial thoughts going in, like when it first popped off the board, I watched the games last week. I really did think, and I have thought, the Rams are capable of beating just about anybody when they play well, when they play their game. I think their defense has started coming around a little bit later in the year. The defensive line, especially with Verse and those guys, have been playing well. The issue I got, right, is you have this LA team going out to Philadelphia. It's supposed to snow. 80% chance of snow up to 3 inches. So it's one of those things. This was the game that I wanted to take the dog in, the away dog. I'd feel a lot more confident if it wasn't going to snow. If they played this game on Saturday, I'd probably take the Rams. On Sunday, I'm probably going to abstain.
3 inches of snow. That's nothing.
Unless you're in LA and play out there. You know what I mean? Then it is something. You see those teams that aren't used to that stuff, man.
Yeah, but when I say nothing, obviously it's nothing. In the everyday world, it's nothing still to me, unless you're in Atlanta, and then it's something. But on the football field, 3 inches of snow is not. They're not going to let it compile. It's not going to. They have these turfs are heated. They're going to make sure you're going to have more snow in the stands than it is on the field. It's just necessarily going to be cold. And what was the temperature again?
Low 30s.
That's not even cold.
It's the early game.
Not even cold. 30 degrees. Might as well be 50. I don't have the weather as a. Obviously, what I'm saying is I don't have the weather as an obstacle.
Yeah, I'm abstaining right now. I'm still off of it. I haven't talked myself out of the Rams. I haven't talked myself into the Eagles. I'm personally abstaining. You can put this one on the sheet. It may look more appealing to some of the other ones once we break them down, but I don't know.
So, another thing before we move off this game, are we going to have the 5th straight game of Cooper Kupp getting 1 catch.
I don't know, man. It's a little wild, isn't it?
It's not even. It is so crazy. Like Puka Nacua is kind of like a clone of Cooper, right? In some respects. But Cooper's not getting any targets. It's like he's just out there. And if you go back to earlier in the season, he was on a trade block. So it's hard not to think that he's being phased out in the worst way.
I mean, you really, to get money for him, you got to be at 5+ catches.
Really.
Yeah. He's at -180 at 4+.
There's no way I would even entertain it. Over he hasn't done anything in a month. He cost me a fantasy championship. Him and Quinn Ewers are on my. Well, let me not blame him. I'm blaming Matt Stafford on that one because he don't even throw the boy to the ball. But man, I can't see it. I can't fathom it. They just don't throw the ball that way anymore. Their offense hasn't slowed down at all.
And Puka is -120 at 8+.
Right.
It's wild.
Yes. Really, it's crazy how these things develop, right? You know, grand opening, grand closing in the NFL. One day you're hot, next day you're not.
I like maybe a Saquon anytime, -170. If I'm putting in, that might be a parlay play.
I kind of like that play. I mean, Saquon is pretty golden. I mean, for anything, right? I really.
And
I
he had
remember
kind of a bad
3+.
beat not getting one last week. He decided just to go down when he had it in the bank.
That's true. You got to be. Whew, you a gambler if you put that +2 on Cooper Kupp. You are gambling. So I'm with you if you want to go anytime touchdown for Saquon. I'm with that.
All right, put it in.
Yeah. What was our touchdowns? Anytime TD for Saquon. Let's go. All right, we got one more game left. B, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Because this is, I don't want to do too much, but this might be the biggest game in NFL history. B.
This is the best game of the playoff. This is the best game of the weekend. Period.
Easily. I've been waiting for this game since before the Baltimore Ravens even won last week. Before Buffalo even won last week, I was waiting for this game. There's so much right on this game, right?
I'm going to say this too. Not very often do I go into something, especially something this like close of a line and you can make arguments on all sides. I'm feeling like we're going to be aligned on this one.
you know where I'm going, but I'm gonna set it up a little bit. So I was waiting on this game before their previous 2 games even finished. You got the 2 guys who are like 1 and 2 neck and neck for the MVP of this season: Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Even though it's a regular season award, I think this game is a referendum on the voters.
I agree.
Who voted. Whoever wins this game, whoever performs up to their stature, whoever does it, it's going to bolster the claim, rather, right? It's going to say, you know what? Yeah, they are deserving. And you're going to see that when the award show should pop out. So, with all that said, you've got Ravens, who are possibly the hottest team in the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. Buffalo Bills, they're no slouches either. They're just as, I think they've won just as many games in the last month as the Ravens have. Maybe not in the same fashion, but still, they're no punks. And
playing well. They're playing well.
Even though a lot of that roster has been retooled from years past, they still got Josh Allen. Josh Allen's proven he's won in this round before. He's got 5 career playoff wins. Lamar Jackson, to his credit, only 2. And the Ravens are hungry. It's a lot going on, B. Before I even tell you, I think you know where I'm going, so I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to waste your time. Talk me off the ledge, please.
So there's a clear demarcation to me in this season for the Baltimore Ravens when Kyle Hamilton came back from injury and they put him back in deep free safety. He sees the field better. I think he gets people in better places. Is smart guy off the football field. Very intelligent football mind. I think that's been the difference in their defense, and that was their glaring.
What a game!
That was their glaring weakness. To me, earlier in the season, they also some of the games that they've lost this season are games that they don't get up for. Games that they don't quite take. So the Raiders game, perfect example. I think they get up for this game. I think the city of Baltimore is going to be bonkers for this game. I expect to see T. Sizzle, Ray Lewis, and the boys in the building getting everybody hyped up. I think the winner of this game is the AFC Super Bowl team representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this year. I think whoever this is knocks off the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens.
Quote the Ravens. Nevermore. Let's do it, B. You know I'm riding with that. It's time. This is the bowl. So who gets to beat Patrick Mahomes next week? This is what this is. He's been a boogeyman to both these teams too long. And I think just because the Ravens are playing a little bit better for everything that you said, Kyle Hamilton moving back into deep safety mode, Lamar Jackson is seeing the field better than ever before. And Derrick Henry, we haven't even talked about him. Derrick Henry this is when Derrick Henry performs, when it's cold outside. I take nothing away from Josh Allen, James Cook, and the rest, but I cannot. The Ravens will be undefeated over the last 3 seasons if they didn't beat themselves. I have not seen. When have you seen the Ravens lose a game by double digits? When?
It's been a while.
It's been a while, right? They only lose games by their own faults. And when they're focused and when they have a clear objective, and this is a clear objective, they are focused, they handle business. I got Baltimore.
I like it.
What about that total, 51.5?
Staying completely away from it.
I hear you.
Completely.
All right, so that would pretty much close us down. We are getting close to that time anyway, so let's settle up, B. How you like that?
To tell you how close the public thinks this Ravens-Bills game's going to be, right now 51% of the bets placed are on the Baltimore Ravens. It's a wild stat.
That is. It's going to be a great game. I can't wait. All right, so you're abstaining from the Philly game. You last chance. Okay. All right. So our slip looks like this. We've got Baltimore by 1.5. We got Philadelphia Eagles by 6. We got the DC Commies. Well, no, we split on that. Nope, we split on that one. Don't worry about that one. We got the Kansas City Chiefs by 8.5. When we have the Ohio State Buckeyes by 8.5. with the over 46.5. We also have a player parlay in that Commander Lion game. Zach Ertz over 4 catches.
So we have 7 bets on the slip.
Yes, sir. That's 7.
All right. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Go down past that, Chiefs. 4, 5. All right. 6 and 7. So Zach Ertz, our 2 are the player picks. So we got 3 teams. 3 teams that we took that are 8.5 point favorites. Let's figure out which one we like the least and get rid of it. What do you think about that?
No, I like that thought process. Let's go with this way. All right, so for me, out of the 3 8.5s, the one I like the least, I gotta be real with you. B. We didn't take the Kansas Detroit 8.5.
Oh, we were okay. We were opposing on that one. All right,
Right. So we only have 2 8.5s.
All right. I like the prop bets. I say we leave those in.
Okay, so that's Saquon anytime score and Zach Ertz over 4 catches.
Yep, I like those 2.
All right, so that's 2.
I feel like we gotta have a college game in there.
Okay, I mean that's law.
So it gets us down to.
So we have this over 46.5 in that college game. We still have the Kansas City Chiefs 8.5, Philadelphia Eagles -6, and Baltimore Ravens -1.5.
I would vote the Eagles off the island. But I think
I know you would. I know you would. So in the sense of,
you make your argument for what you would remove, and then we'll see if I can go sway your way. Or do I need? We can't do 7. It's been pick 6 all year. Don't do 7.
Right. Exactly. We're not going to switch up now.
Not now.
Exactly. So we're going to keep college. We're keeping the. How do you feel about that over 46.5? Are you strong with it?
I'm mediocre.
And I know how you feel about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Rams. You are abstaining all the way on that one. So to me, I feel like it's just between those 2, right? So we can't cut the baby here.
Well, we already got a bet on the college game. So in spirit of having more bets on more games for playoff weekend, I would say get rid of the over.
I mean, the logic fits me. Let's do it. All right. There we go. So some of those are same game parlay, so it's like a look to right. But if you put this in your slip, the odds would be, let me see, plus 13,014. 1 unit bet. You know how that, you can do the math. You know how that sounds. 1 unit bet.
I dig it. Gonna run it all the way through.
Oh yeah.
All right. So our pick 6 is a Zach Ertz a Zach Ertz 4+ receptions, a Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown. In the national title game, we got the Ohio State Buckeyes minus 8.5. We got the Chiefs minus 8.5 against the Texans. If the Eagles minus 6 against the Rams, and then we have what's the last one? The Ravens. Quote the Raven.
Yes, quote the Raven. The Edgar
minus
Allan
1.5.
The Omar Littles.
Oh, they're at Buffalo.
They are at Buffalo.
That's right.
Avon
I still dig
Barksdale.
it. I don't care.
Let's do it, B. Let's get paid.
All right, that does it for us. We got to get 4 and 2 here. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. As always, if you have not yet, please hit that like, subscribe, rate, and review. Give us that 5-star rating. I will be back on Friday with the homies with Pay. Pay, tell them where else they can catch you.
Frustrated Chicago sports fan channels available on YouTube and everywhere else you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pandora, and Spotify.
And you can catch me back on Running Through the Jungle. Circle the wagons after the Buffalo Bills loss and come back here next week and you can hit Pay Dirt.